Dzień dobry to all the knitters out there. I'm making this tutorial to show you how to knit in the round using circular needles. In my next video I'm going to knit these cute children's socks using circular needles with the so-called magic loop method. If you've been using double-pointed needles so far, it might be a good preparation to look at this tutorial. Start by casting on an even number of stitches depending on your project. For the purpose of this video I'm casting on 20 stitches. For most projects I need an even number of stitches. So remember to have an even number and remember to cast on one additional stitch. Start by pulling out the upper needle. Turn the remaining needle. Now count to the middle of the stitches. So in my case I have originally 20 stitches, so I'm counting to 10. This is my middle, and do so with your project. Do not regard the additional stitch you casted on. Separate the stitches in the middle. Move the stitches down to the cable and find the middle point of the stitches. Bend your cable and pull it through, in my case between the 10th and the 11th stitch. Now slide your stitches onto both needles. Keep both needles aligned like this for the first 2 to 3 rows while knitting in the round. This side should be at the bottom and this one at the top of your work. Start by combining the stitches together to make a loop. To do so, carefully slip off the first stitch of the back needle and slip it onto the front needle. Place your working yarn between both needles like so. Keep your tail facing down. Your tail will be your marker where the beginning of your new row is. Try to keep your tail as short as possible. My tail ends usually about here. This length is more than enough to secure your work by weaving in the tail once you're done. Everything beyond that is a waste of yarn. Do it yourself only makes sense when you are not only using the right materials but also use them wisely. Now pull out your back needle while keeping the stitches in place. Start your first row by working the first stitches together. Depending on your pattern, you either purl or knit the first 2 stitches together. I'm keeping the demonstration simple by knitting every stitch. To do so, take your back needle, which is now your right needle, and put it into the left side of the second stitch while pushing the needle through the first stitch also. Push your right needle further up to yarn over and pull through, leaving you with 1 stitch on your right needle. Keep the stitch as tight as possible to avoid a gap in your work. From here on now, you will only work singular stitches in the same way. Go with your right needle into the left side of the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. The more stitches are on your right needle, the more you'll have to secure the stitches on both sides with your right hand also, to avoid your work from getting twisted. Once you reach the end, let go of your left needle and slide the back loops onto your left needle while holding your stitches in place. Carefully turn your project, place your working yarn between both needles and pull the back needle out. Every first stitch, as this one, needs to be worked tightly. Observe how I avoid the work from getting twisted. Once you reach the end, let go of your left needle, slide the cable back to move the back stitches onto your left needle. Turn your work and repeat. The second row will be already much easier to knit. However, you should still hold your project in place to avoid it from getting twisted. I am at my 3rd row now, and I can let go of my work. I can now place my hand comfortably without paying attention to the position of all the stitches. By the 4th row, it is definitely not necessary anymore to hold your work tightly, but decide for yourself whether to let go by the 3rd row or to wait until you reach your 4th row. It might seem complicated at first, but it's actually very easy to learn and opens up a lot more possibilities. By knitting in the round using circular needles, you'll in some cases be able to work 2 things at once. Socks, for instance. You'll be done much faster, and you'll definitely end up with 1 pair at once, guaranteeing a finished project. This comes especially handy when knitting adult-sized socks, which take a while to finish. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and that I will see you for the next one, where I'll be showing you how to put your new skills at work.